It's crunch time. Before crunch time, I want to start by giving all the praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahushai Bashem, Chakwadash. Abundance to my teachers, the elder apostles of the great millstone who rule well, and as always, peace and salutations to all the fellow laborers of the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. It's crunch time before crunch time. And what do I mean by that? This past, I say, 11 months or so, where this devil's been coming down with his iron fist, demanding everybody to receive the pharmakia potion. And he's gave all type of ultimatums. He's put down, heavy unrighteous decrees, mandates, and a lot of people have been under pressure. A lot of people failed under pressure and complied, and they ended up, reaping the effects of those decisions. And you had others that said no, and they opted out and refused and lost their livelihoods. Some people managed to, slip through, with certain exemptions, even though we can't hold our breath on those particular exemptions, because we know what the goal is for this devil. So the past 11 months has been crunch time for a lot of people. And, we know that's a saying, meaning, this is a time or a moment where something must be decided or done in a time of difficulty. You can't really avoid it. So when these devils set, deadlines, it's pretty much crunch time. He's drawing a line in the sand. Now, I've always said that this operation of making sure everybody receive the pharmakia, this is like the midterm before the final exam. And the final exam, which we all know, which is its final solution, is that MOTB, the Charagma. We know that this here is pretty much the precursor to it. And if you failed the midterm, you have a high chance of failing the final exam, because we all are being put to the test. So that's why I said this is crunch time before crunch time. All right, because it's going to be a very difficult time when this devil really come down with the hammer to try to make sure that you bow down not only to his image but receive his charagma. And like Joshua said, going back to the time that we were invading the land of Canaan, and this is what was declared to our people. And what you got a lot of Jake right now, they're choosing who they're serving. And it's definitely not the Heavenly Father. Joshua 24, verse 15, and if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And people are being met with that decision right now. Amongst our people, I'll say. We don't care what these other nations do. Even though you got actual Edomites that's choosing not to worship the image of the beast. And there's major division going on within this kingdom. As the Lord said, a nation divided against itself cannot stand. And you even have their own military opting out. So that brings me to this video here. I got a couple clips, or a few clips, to show that it's definitely crunch time, but we're not at the finals yet. The finals is going to be when this devil makes it mandatory for that Charagma. That's when we're really going to see the crunch time of the hour of temptation. So anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna play this news clip right here. This is dealing with the deadline for the U.S. military.
They're not, they could face serious consequences, including being discharged. The vaccine deadline already passed for the Marines, the Navy, the Space Force, and the Air Force. Monday, the Air Force announced it discharged 27 who refused to get vaccinated.
And mind you, a great number of servicemen throughout these different departments in the military have been opting out. They've been discharged because they refuse. All right. This is why pretty soon it's going to be a draft where they're going to have to fill in for a lot of people that they lost to these unrighteous decrees. So now you got the army. This is the final one. So it's crunch time for these people.
NBC's Courtney Kuby on the Pentagon's push to get shots in arms.
Shep, today is the deadline for all active duty U.S. Army soldiers to be vaccinated for COVID. Now, we don't have the final numbers for exactly how many U.S. troops may not have met today's deadline. But according to some preliminary numbers that we got from defense officials, somewhere in the neighborhood of 97 to 98% of all U.S. soldiers did get their COVID vaccine by today's deadline. Now, keep in mind, Shep, the entire U.S. Army is more than 480,000 soldiers. So 2 to 3% is still thousands of individuals. But of those remaining troops who didn't get the vaccine in time, about 1%, a little bit more than that, are actually in an exemption process. So there are several different ways that troops can be exempted from getting the vaccine. One is a medical waiver, a medical exemption, and the other is a religious one. But we also know that so far only 3 medical waivers have been granted and no religious waivers have been granted. So the reality is the majority of those who are in that process probably will not get their exemption that they've applied for. So that still leaves somewhere in the neighborhood of thousands of troops who have not got their vaccine, who didn't meet the deadline. The reality is they will be counseled by their leadership, but if they continue to refuse to get the vaccine, they can be processed for administrative separation. We've already seen that happen in the Air Force. We will likely see that happen to some troops in the U.S. Army as well.
Yep. So that's the penalty. You will be placed on administrative separation. So this devil, because you don't want to comply to his demands, he wants to separate you. He wants to, put you to the side and take away, your right to participate and have any dealings with your everyday necessities and services, needed to live. There's various ways that he plans to kill off those who will not bow down their knee to the image. But it doesn't stop there. So let me play these other ones, and then we're gonna get some scriptures.
The Navy is beginning the process of removing sailors who refuse to get a COVID-19 vaccination. The service released formal guidance to commanders today on how to proceed with what it calls administrative separations. The move could affect more than 5,000 personnel. Mike Gooding has details.
A total of 336,000 sailors are vaccinated, but 5,731 have refused to get a COVID-19 shot. Under a new Naval Administrative message released Wednesday, unvaccinated officers and enlisted sailors eligible to retire or leave the service before June 1, 2022 will be allowed to do so with an honorable discharge. Those not eligible to leave by that date will be processed for separation on the basis of misconduct for refusing that lawful order, but will still receive an honorable discharge.
Let me be clear up front. We want every sailor to receive the vaccine and stay Navy. And if a sailor gets their shot, we will honor that and make every effort to retain them. On the other hand, those who continue to refuse the vaccine will be required to leave the Navy.
So far, 7 permanent medical exemptions have been approved. No religious exemptions have been okayed, even though 2,705 active duty sailors put in requests for one. Senate Armed Services Committee member Tim Kaine of Virginia says it's unfortunate, sad, and tragic that so many sailors, for whatever reason, have refused to get the vaccine. He acknowledges their departure could have an impact on readiness, but Kaine says the separations are necessary.
Nobody works in closer quarters than sailors. I mean, submarines, surface ships, nobody works in closer quarters than these folks.
Mike Gooding, 13 News Now.
According to the Navy, there have been more than 50,000 cases of COVID-19 among the active force, and 16 sailors have died. Last year, the Theodore Roosevelt was sidelined.
All right, that's enough. So you see that they start removing and kicking out Navy sailors. And like I said, with the number of people that they are removing is opening up room for replacement. You women out there, since you believe in equality, well, you're gonna get the equality that you always wanted. They will put your ass right in the service. All right. So yeah, these people are facing crunch time, man. We're in a time of the time of difficulty. Things are not going to be easy. This devil's going to make it a lot more harsher. He's coming down with that wrath, like it says in Revelation 12:12, because he knows that he had but a short time. So he got to quickly make these moves. All right. He's not going to play nice, with you people, man. So anyway, and here's the other one. This is dealing with the Google employees.
Hard line stance for one of the Bay Area's largest companies, Google, telling all employees they will need to show proof of being fully vaccinated or get an exemption by January 18th. If they don't, they could be fired. NBC Bay Area's Marianne Favreau is at Google headquarters in Mountain View with a closer look.
You can bet that other high-tech companies in Silicon Valley will be watching closely to see how the company implements its new vaccine mandate. While some Google employees have returned to the office, thousands still work from home and will continue to for months, if not longer. But Google is now telling all employees, no matter where they work, they'll need to be fully vaccinated or apply for an exemption by January 18th. Those who don't could lose pay and ultimately their jobs. Google declined our interview request, but issued a statement saying, "Our vaccination requirements are one of the most important ways we can keep our workforce safe and keep our services running. We're committed to doing everything possible to help our employees who can get vaccinated do so and firmly stand behind our vaccination policy." Google is Silicon Valley's largest employer with more than 36,000 employees and has long been seen as a business bellwether. It issued the mandate after the Biden administration ordered U.S. companies with 100 or more workers to ensure their employees are fully vaccinated or regularly tested for COVID-19 by January 18th. But even though a federal court issued a stay on the order last month, Google is not changing its requirements. Tech analyst Tim Baharin says other Silicon Valley companies will be monitoring the tech giant.
They're going to be watching how the protests go as well, and what kind of blowback they get from employees. at Google.
Several employees we talked with off camera today told us they support the mandate because they want as much protection from COVID as possible when they do return to the office. But not all Google employees feel that way. According to CNBC, several hundred have signed a manifesto opposing the mandate.
I don't believe that will have any impact on Google's leadership decision to enforce it.
In Mountain View, Marianne Favreau, NBC Bay Area.
A whole lot of propaganda, man. A lot of enchantment. Yeah, this devil, man. I'm gonna say this, man. 99 boosters, and you still ain't done. If you having vid problems, I feel bad for you, son. You got 99 boosters and you still ain't done. This is gonna be a continual thing. People already starting to see the madness. That's why they're refusing. Is why they're opposing. You still got a lot of idiots out there. All they see is the almighty dollar. All they see is their job. All they see is comfortability. They want temporary comfort, but they were willing to give away their freedom for a false sense of security or safety. So that's what you get for trusting in the devil. All right. A lot of people going through it too. But anyway, this is why the Lord told us the mindset and attitude to take in this day and time. He even said, in the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I overcame the world. That means that what? That we have to, as long as we're in this time of trouble, we still have to hold fast our integrity and faith unto the end. No matter what this devil, pushes against us, no matter how much pressure he applies towards us, we have to walk in that faith. And he also said, he that loveth his life or try to save his life will lose it. Let's go to Matthew 16 and 24. The smart ones are saying, man, this job ain't worth it. Fuck this job, you know. But I rather maintain my integrity. This is Matthew 16 and 24. It says, then said Yahushua to his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. And those that's willing to lose their life, they're the ones that's opposing. Now it tells you, pursuant to the vision that John saw on Isle of Patmos in Revelation the 13th chapter, that this beast would give power and life into the image of the beast. And that's what's taking place right now with this whole system that he's putting into place. All right, the whole technocracy, this whole digital surveillance system, this digital monetary system that he's putting in place is basically giving life to the image. So basically the image of the beast is taking form as we speak. And he's making sure everybody comply and bow down to it. All right, it says Revelation 13 and 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak. And he's speaking as that dragon right now. That draconian, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. All right, and I remember the elder Yashawamba had looked, he took a closer look into that word for killed in the Greek. And there's the word right here. Apocteno, and it says to kill in any way, whatever. And that's, this devil, he's going, through many lengths to try to, kill you in whatever way possible for not complying, for not, uh, giving in. First he tries to entice you, trying to, bribe you with incentives. Now it's, well, you can't work, you can't eat, you can't take care of your family. So this is one way he's actually trying to kill you. You see? To destroy, to allow to perish, metaphorically to extinguish, abolish, to inflict moral death, to deprive of spiritual life, and procure eternal misery in hell. Which we know that there's no such place as hell where you are suffering eternally. All right, but once you give in to this and you bow down and you receive his charagma, it will deprive you of that spiritual life. A lot of these people that took it, they don't even feel like they're human anymore. So you go into the etymology, you take a closer look in the root word apo, and it says of separation, of local separation. All right, in the first clip, that's exactly what the penalty is. These people in the U.S. Army services, if they opt out of taking
Only
it
Wendy's
and don't
serves a
comply
better
to the
breakfast with a
deadline,
better biscuit. A hot
it's a luck you. You don't comply to that deadline, she literally said you will be placed on
buttery
administrative
treasure
separation.
loaded with a fresh.
You see? Let me X out of here, man. But that was what she said. So he's gonna start with, separating you from society, man. And that way, once he separates you, he can have a closer look at who's not participating, who's not playing ball. You see? And those are pretty much those that are on his list. These are, they got terms and labels for you. They should be de-radicalized. You're a radical. You're an extremist. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're an anti-veer. You're this, you're that. That's how they separate you. You're being ostracized. All right, of separation of a part from the whole. See, whereof a wholesome part is taken of any kind of separation of one thing from another, by which the union or fellowship of the two is destroyed. All right, so if you're part of the military, now you're separated from the military. You no longer can serve, which that should be a good thing. Now choose you who this day you're gonna serve. And this is, primarily towards you, Jake, not to any outsider. This is for Jake out there. All right. If you've been through this as a Jake, that means that you still have a chance, man. And it also tells you in the scripture that with these temptations, the Lord will make a way for you to escape it. There is escape routes. Them exemptions is a form of the escape. That's an escape route. And some dudes, they so they're so low in faith, they ain't even tried to consider that option. They just went right on with it. 1 Corinthians 10:13, it says, there have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. The Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. And the Lord, he's faithful. If you kept the word of his patience, he said, I will keep thee from the hour of temptation, that will try all that dwell on the earth. All right. So if you can get through this midterm, the pharmakia potion, then the Lord will provide a way for you to get through on the final exam. Because we're definitely at crunch time. It's crunch time before crunch time. All right. Over there in Sweden, they just jump straight to the final exam. They already, pushing it, the Charagma. But we know that that's gonna spread, it's gonna spiral, and it's gonna, go nationwide because we know that's the ultimate objective for the elite. All right. So, we gotta be willing to even be slain for this thing, man. Because it said that, you would be killed if you didn't bow down. One of the ways that they kill you is even if they try to take away your means of living, your bread. Let's go to Sirach 34. There's another way the beast is gonna try to slay you. Sirach 34 in 21 it says, "The bread of the needy is their life. He that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood. He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him." And if you choosing not to, bow down, then he's gonna take away your living, meaning he's gonna cut you off. You will not have the opportunity to, earn your daily bread. And he that defraudeth the labor of his hire is a bloodshedder. And Esau, he's not satisfied with blood, man. That's a bloody dude. So he doesn't care. All right. But like the scriptures say in Romans the 8th chapter, we're killed all the day long. Go to Romans 8. Yeah, this is Romans 8 in verse I'll start at verse 30. It says, "Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified." It's talking about his elect, his disciples, the men and women that he chose before the foundation of the world. It says, whom he justified, them he also glorified. What shall we say to these things? If the Most High be for us, who could be against us? So if the Most High is with us, it doesn't matter what you do. If you try to separate us, ostracize us, starve us out, it doesn't even matter. All right, the Lord's going to take care of us regardless, man. It says, he that spared not his own son, but delivereth him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? Who shall lay anything to the charge of the Most High's elect? It's chosen. It is the Most High that justifieth. Who is he that condemneth? It is Yahweh Shai that died, yea, rather that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of the Most High, who also maketh intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Mashiach? Shall tribulation, trouble, or distress, hardship, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, being destitute, being without, or peril, danger, or sword, as is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. So that's why the beast will not have a successful victory over the Lord's elect, because they're used to being killed. And if you are a prophet, you probably was more than likely killed in your past life anyway. So you're one of those souls who did not love their life unto death. So it's very difficult for the devil, to be able to have that one up over you. It says, we are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors. All right, winners. through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, meaning authorities, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of the Most High, which is in Hamashiach Yahushai our Lord. Like I said, hey, we're in crunch time before crunch time. All right, and everybody's faith is being tested and put on the line. And when the Charagma come, that's it. We're gonna see who's really down. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Until the next lesson, Shalom.